The stock market is driven by human beings, and collectively the human herd swings between emotions. Sometimes caution is the dominant psychology, and sometimes it is confidence. There are many ways of measuring investor sentiment, and one of our favourites is looking at the relative performance of stock market sectors. An analysis of which sectors are in or out of favour, often called sector rotation, can give us good clues and enhance our Elliott wave view. Our own European sector rotation ratio is shown here along with the Stoxx Europe 600 index. The sector rotation ratio is calculated by simply dividing the relative performance of cyclical sectors such as consumer discretionary, industrials and basic resources by the relative performance of defensive sectors such as consumer staples, utilities and healthcare. When the sector rotation ratio is going down, it indicates that defensive sectors are outperforming cyclicals, and so therefore that a cautious mindset is dominating. Alternatively, when the ratio is going up, cyclicals are outperforming defensives, and a confident psychology is dominating. It makes sense, therefore, that the overall stock market and the ratio should move in the same direction. Back on February the 19th, we showed this chart in the European short-term update, highlighting the fact that the stock market and sentiment were diverging. We stated at the time, as the data shows, the Stoxx Europe 600 index is higher than it was in April 2019, whereas the sector rotation ratio is lower. This tells us that the underlying psychology is cautious and defensive, not gung-ho and aggressive. We concluded that, given our Elliott wave outlook, it could mean that the rally over the past few months is corrective in nature and that a large decline is looming. The day we showed that chart, the 19th of February, turned out to be the day of the high in Stoxx Europe 600. Since then, the index has crashed by over 35% as the cautious defensive mindset that the sector rotation ratio was warning about came dramatically to the fore. The question now, of course, is whether sentiment has become overly pessimistic and cautious. Judging by our sector rotation ratio, we're still a very long way from those conditions.